If John Travolta has taught us anything, it's that the ladies can't resist a man who can dance. Well, at least that's true for one species of colorful bird known as the blue manakin. But there are tons of birds out there that dance to get attention. What makes this guy so special? Well, it all comes down to rehearsing with your crew here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter at ldtaxonomy.com. Or no, just ldtaxonomy. Or you can visit us at our home on the web at ldtaxonomy.com. Goodness. But an extra special thank you to our patrons, to Tristan Taylor, Jesse Raspulich, Carol Raspulich, and Paul Chomo. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on.
And today we're talking about a Casanova with a posse, but more on that later.
With a crew, a pit crew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've actually covered this kind of animal before.
Mannequins?
Yeah. We covered the mannequin bird.
We're talking about mannequins. Plastic. Best episode of
Doctor Who. The first episode of the Chris Eggleston.
Yeah. AKA the episode that almost made me never watch it again.
If I hadn't already seen Blink, I would not have continued watching.
I think I had the same exact experience.
But yes, we're talking about but not just any mannequin, the blue mannequin. But it's also the blue mannequin is also known as the swallow-tailed mannequin. But we're gonna call it Dirty Dancing and the Flap Street Boys.
What about Blue Mannequin Group?
Blue Mannequin Group. That's actually a pretty good one. I didn't think of that.
It's thematic.
I have not seen a Blue Man Group performance, but I imagine there is an element of dance.
Sort of. Do you like pipes and paint and like throwing things?
Yeah.
And bald monochromatic men that say nothing but look very intently?
Sure. They're all Vision. They're all Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
I like most of those things. Paint and throwing things are chief among them. But yeah. This is the blue mannequin. Oh, you're care to taxonomize this one?
I'd love to. So the kingdom you know, love, and are in, the kingdom Animalia. It's in the phylum Chordata, because you know what that means. It's in the class, you already know it. It's a bird. Aves, Maria.
Aves.
Yeah, we've done that before.
Have we?
The taxonomy has a lot of recurring jokes.
I've determined never to say this, to do the squamata joke, and then we need to retire the Chelly Serrata joke as well.
The order is Passeriformes.
Mm-hmm. The largest order of birds.
A ton of birds, yeah, like crows. You know them. The family is Pipridae.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, mannequin birds.
Mannequins, yeah.
The mannequins. And then the genus is Chiroxyphia. Chiroxyphia? Is that
Chiroxyphia? Or Chirocyphia? One of those two.
I'm seeing Chirozyphia.
Chirozyphia? Like xylophone? There's the big X there in the middle. Mm-hmm. We don't usually have to deal with X.
No, it's like moonshines in the middle there. Big bunch of X's on it.
Delicious.
The species is caudata.
Coup d'etat.
Chirosifia caudata.
Yep, my favorite character from Star Trek The Next Generation. Since we're in the business of naming things, it's time for my favorite part of the show, Critter Groups. The part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question, and that question is the same every time. What is the name of a group of this animal, or what is the term of entry, or what is the collective noun? It's all the same. If you saw specifically a group of male mannequin bachelors, what would you call them? Would you call them A, a gripe of mannequins, B, a squad of mannequins, C, a fam of mannequins, or D, a lek of mannequins?
It's a gripe.
Is
Final
that
answer.
your... Okay. Incorrect. I think this is the first one you've gotten incorrect in a while. You've gotten a lot of them
Is it
right.
squad?
The answer is lek.
Ooh, yeah, no. I ruled out everything that made it sounded like a made-up syllable.
Yep. I knew that I put tham in there just because if lek was the only made-up syllable, it would make it stand out, which is a lesson I learned from last week. I'm getting better at making quizzes. But yeah, a group of male bachelor mannequins is called a lek. And their whole the whole process of them trying to impress females is called lekking, which sounds like leching, which is a really sleazy way for humans to impress females.
Lecking is something that like more than just this bird does. It's like just a general like when like courtship rituals, when males come together to do courtship rituals or competitions.
Yeah, specifically males.
Cool. Would you like me to describe it to you?
Sure.
Well, mannequins are plump, sparrow-shaped birds with round bodies, large heads, and small pointed beaks. They're cute. They're adorable.
Yeah.
Think of a cute and adorable bird. You're thinking of this, at least in shape. But blue mannequin males are cerulean blue, a nice cerulean blue. True blue, you might even say, on their body. But their wings and their tail feathers are black. And they also have black on their heads, but their heads are topped with a red hat. You got a little red, like...
Mohawk,
yeah.
They live, they die, they
Though
live
it doesn't
again.
stick up. Females are dark green with some dark brown or black to blend in with the forest. They're the more, as with many birds, females are utilitarian in their color.
Drab
forest blend. Sounds like
like coffee. I was gonna say. Wow, drab forest blend sounds like the nastiest kind of coffee.
Young males start green and then develop their blue and red feathers as they age. Also, females are also start green, but they
Stay green.
They stay green. But I said they're sparrow shaped, but what are they? Sparrow sized? Welcome to the Love Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show. The part of the show when we present the animal sizes, dimensions, in relatable terms through a quiz. It's fun for the whole family. It's also the part of the show that's introduced by you when you send in audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new measure up intro this week, which means we will not be gassed and we will not be doing a good job. I mean, we will.
What?
We'll try.
Oh, I see. We're actually deflated a little bit. Prepare for a subpar rest of the episode.
A solemn affair.
Yes.
But guess what that means? That means we get to reach back into the archives to find some of our greatest hits.
Nice.
Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
Measure up, Buttercup.
Did you hear that?
Barely. Is that
You will do no. It is It is sent in from Cook. It's been a long time, but thank you, Cook,
Yeah.
if you're still out there.
Thank you again.
I know for a fact he's still out there.
Oh, wait,
But
that
I don't
is...
know if he's still listening.
That's a relative of a friend of ours, right?
Yes.
Like the niece, yeah, or nephew, yeah.
A niche.
And yeah, very niche market. That sounds terrible.
It's more like a nephew market. But yeah, thanks, Cook.
Yeah. Measure up, Buttercup.
Measure up, Buttercup. It rhymes.
It's Powerpuff Girls.
I think that's our only rhyming Measure Up intro. Well,
Possibly.
Here we go. Let's talk about length. You know I had to do it. So it's 15 centimeters, 5.9 inches. So the James Webb Space Telescope's first images were released the day we recorded this episode.
Yeah.
So today, a week ago for the listener, today for us. Among these pictures was the deepest ever photograph taken. Since the deep space image taken by the Hubble Space Telescope, this is the farthest picture ever. So the photo depicts an area of the night sky that could be covered by a grain of sand that is held at arm's length. Are you picturing that? You pick up a grain of sand, hold it at arm's length. In the night sky that grain of sand is covering is the amount, the picture that's here. So it's this tiny little speck of space.
And there's it looks like you live in the one of the Men in Black marbles at the end of the movie.
Yeah. It depicts a ton of galaxies and stuff.
It looks like space
So
pajamas.
Yeah, it does. How many grains of sand go into the length of a blue mannequin?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was subverting some expectations.
Goodness, Ryan Johnson.
I thought of like how far away. I think that I don't like the distance between the Earth and the stuff in the picture is too astronomical. The number would be so big and unwieldy. I didn't want to do it.
We wouldn't have any fun hearing it.
Yeah.
Well,
here's a hint. The photo is the sharpest infrared photo ever taken and shows red-shifted galaxies that could not be seen on the visible light spectrum. It also shows incredibly distant galaxies that are magnified by a gravitational lens, which is when a massive gravitational force bends and magnifies light that passes through it. So if you look at the picture, there are like streaks, curved streaks, which are galaxies that are being distorted by this gravitational lens. And the gravitational lens is coming from this cluster of galaxies. So there's so much gravity in this cluster that it's magnifying the light spectrum so we can see further than we would be able to without this. Isn't that bonkers?
Yeah, I remember learning about that in my astronomy class. How light interacts with entire galaxies and black holes and stuff like that. It's pretty nuts. But I'm also trying to think of how many grains of sand go into the length of this bird, of this Boyd. And I can't, a grain, it really depends on the kind of sand. You can have sugar sand, you could have very coarse
There's a
sand.
spectrum of size that it has to, if it's any smaller, if it's a particulate that is any smaller or any bigger than this range, then it is not sand. If it's bigger, it's probably like a pebble.
Or gravel.
Gravel, yeah.
Smaller,
but
it's powder.
I took the mean, the average of those two numbers.
I am going to shoot in the dark and say 5,000.
5,000 grains of sand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just picturing sand. Like a grain of sand. I probably couldn't even isolate one if I wanted to. I probably couldn't get just one without having like 100 of them on my finger. So, yeah, we'll go with 5,000, which is not the answer. Oh, yeah, it is the answer. How many grains of sand go into the length of the bird? 5,000. Done.
Correct answer is 146.
What? What are these pebbles?
The average of a grain of sand is 1.03 millimeters.
Then I'm thinking of much finer sand.
Yeah, you are. Because go to Deerfield Beach, get a handful of sand, brush it off until you only have one. You could totally isolate.
Sometimes I have one big one, but like,
yeah,
I'm thinking of like playground sand. It's just so it's like
that sand is very fine. That's on the low end.
Yeah, I don't sure, but goodness, I was off by that was not a nursing school victory.
Okay, let's talk weight. They are 25.6 grams or 0.90 ounces. Nearly an ounce.
1 ounce.
How many blue manakins go into the largest red-footed tortoise ever?
Red-footed tortoise.
Mm-hmm. Here's a hint. This is a species of tortoise that is native to South America. And this particular tortoise was found in Paraguay. And it was around 60 centimeters long.
I've never heard it pronounced Paraguay before.
What is it, Paraguay?
That's yeah. That's interesting. Because it took me a second. I was like, what? All right. All right. I'm gonna say this thing is 150 pounds. So the answer is 2,400.
The correct answer is 1,120.
Oh, that is
mannequins.
Not a nursing school victory.
The tortoise was 28 kilograms.
Lightweight. Why do we even know about this tortoise if it's not the heaviest or the oldest?
61 pounds. It is the heaviest of its species.
Yeah, but it's not the heaviest tortoise. That's all I care about is heavy tortoises.
If you were greatly enamored with the red-footed tortoise, you would care about the largest one.
Yeah, but that's not me.
And that's no one. So yeah, you're gonna have to go back to nursing school. But let's talk fast facts before we get into the major fact.
Sure thing.
I'll take my hands off the desk so I can stop making horrible sounds in the mic. So blue manakins are found in South America, especially in Argentina, Brazil, and Paraguay. They prefer tropical and subtropical rainforests. They will make a home out of both montane and lowland forests as long as they're moist. You won't catch them in a dry forest. You need a wet one.
Same.
Yeah. I don't think you'll catch a lot of trees in a dry forest either.
You might catch them on fire.
Yeah, that's what you do. Up to 5 males will live in a 100 square meter area, and one of them will be the alpha. Perhaps more on that later. They feed in the understory of the forest. Do you know what that is?
Is that when a forest is not able to be on stage, they get the understory to take over?
No, it's a layer of vegetation beneath the main canopy.
Oh. Never mind.
They prefer small fruit and berries, but they will sometimes eat insects. They often eat fruit in flight, which is a behavior that is seen in insect-eating birds called hawking. If Stephen is hawking, that means he is flying and eating bugs out of the air. So manakins may have at one time eaten mostly insects because of this behavior. They may have done that until they found out that fruit tastes way better than bugs.
I've had bugs and fruit.
And
I'm just going to leave it at that.
oh, by the way, Calvin, I finally ate a
lizard tail?
No, a cricket. I ate a cricket.
Oh, did you? A salted one?
Yeah, remember
salt and vinegar?
He gave me some crickets, but my wife did not allow me to eat them. Sure. Or else if I ate them, then I would not be permitted within a 5-foot radius of her, because she was disgusted by the prospect of the most efficient protein.
So have you guys been married long enough for you to be able to,
yes.
to do that?
Well, yeah. Well, she still said no, but I guess we've been married long enough that I did what I wanted to anyway.
It's like you reach the point where you like go to the bathroom with the door open and start eating bugs. That's just how comfortable you get in a marriage.
Which is what I do with in the bathroom anyway.
Yeah. Might as well let the whole house know.
But like the flavor wasn't bad, but the texture was not great. Like, cause you get like a wing bit in your teeth and it's just not a fun time. And it's not crispy crunchy. There are bits that like, it's like
mush.
It's like a kernel of corn, like the outside of the layer of a corn that's like just, or like the a popcorn when you get like a piece that
the brown part,
the skin is stuck in your teeth and it's just like, I'm not having fun anymore. The flavor's gone and now I just have like pieces of bug in my mouth.
The flavor's gone and now I still have a bug in my mouth. I didn't think this through.
Finally, while males have rigid territorial and social structures, females share large territories and often feed together. They're more gregarious.
They're Gregorian?
They're Gregorian, like our calendar.
And chance.
Yeah. But that's all I got. Do you have anything more interesting than these facts that could be considered major?
They're just fans of Gregory. Just anyone named.
Yeah.
There is a blue mannequin out there named Gregory, and they're just followers of him, and they're Gregorian. And he's Gregorious.
Yeah.
All right. So, as I mentioned in the intro, if you listen to it, it's not exactly rare to find a brightly colored tropical bird that dances for the right to make babies. Also, this major fact is called Featherloose. In fact, like I said, we covered the Manakin bird in a previous episode because it does fun moonwalking dances along branches to impress females. But the life of a blue Manakin male is possibly the most competitive mating contest in the entire avian world. Because the females are extremely, and here's a $10 word, hypergamous, which I think is how you pronounce that. They practice hypergamy, which is basically a fancy way of saying that they are super, super selective of the males that they choose to mate with. So selective, in fact, that up to 90% of blue Manakin males will never mate because of how picky they are. And so that means that males need to step up 3D in order to stand a chance here. And in fact, like they may just have the one chance. So they better make it a good one. They better make it stick the landing. So how do you make your dance routine if you've only got one shot? How do you make it have the most impact possible? And the answer is to bring a crew. That's right. The Blue Mannequin gets 2 to 6 of its homies together to put on a show that she'll never forget, or that she might forget. Hopefully she doesn't forget it. And this actually works out for everyone. It's not just one bird taking advantage of the others. Obviously the main man, the groom, gets his hype crew. They help him woo the lady. And then the backup dancers, they get a crash course in wooing themselves from the Prince of Persuasia himself. And they get their dance moves down. And they're also likely to get a little bit of side action. More likely to, if they're involved. And they also have the potential to take over as the leading man, if and when that role opens up. And the crazy thing is that not only does the Bachelor have his wingmen, pun definitely intended, they also rehearse. They have been shown to rehearse ahead of time, and not just like, all right, let's do a dry run dress rehearsal and then let's go for it. I mean, you might just have one shot at this, so they will practice for years on this dance. And there's one ornithologist named Newton George who has a lot of information on the subject, but he said he's observed them practicing from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day.
It's almost like a full.
It's like
a full work day,
like a full-time job to help this guy, knock boots,
reproduce. Yeah.
So you'll have the 2 to 6 backup dancers, and you'll actually have a juvenile. You mentioned the juveniles actually have the same coloration as females. They're all green. The juvenile will go and play the part of the female, the observer, and then they'll do their dance in front of the juvenile over and over and over again.
They'll run lines.
Yeah. And so but then once actually showtime, so this is how the dance actually works. I highly encourage you to go on YouTube and find the BBC David Attenborough version of this, because it's phenomenal. It's well edited. I don't know how much of that is actually like the way that's set up is really cute, and I don't know how much of that is actually legit. But when you watch it, like, you'll have a female that is perched on a branch, and in this particular video there are 3 backup dancers, and then the main man, so 4 males, and what they do is they all like align next to her on the same branch, and then they shuffle toward her. And then once the one that's closest to her gets too close, he will fly away and go to the back of the line. And then they'll continue shuffling forward. And then the first one will fly away and go back to the back of the line. And so they kind of do this carousel, this rotating conveyor belt of birds. And this is their dance, is just this. And the female looks mortified. She's just like crouching and looking up and staring at these male birds that are just shuffling toward her and then flying away, and shuffling toward her and flying away. And then eventually the dance is over, and it's ended when the main man flies up to her, turns his rump to her, and then just starts flapping in her face. These are the Flap Street Boys. And just kind of does a like hovers and flutters in front of her, and then goes and lights on a branch separate from the others. And in the video, you have the other three. They're like all there's like all this anticipation for like, you know, does she like the dance? Is she gonna go for it? The music's anticipatory, and all of the backup dancers are like crouching and looking like, oh, is he gonna pick her? Like they're all waiting for a bouquet to be thrown at them, like they're cartoons. It's chef's kiss, like it's so well done. And then in the video, yeah, spoiler alert, she's like, yeah, hooray, I choose you, Pikachu. And so, but now these backup dancers, they've got this dance down. They don't have to spend years going forward. They've already got the dance down. So once one of them takes the position of lead male, they've already got an experienced crew of backup, of wingmen, to then go and try to woo another female. So yeah, that's what sets this particular mannequin apart from all the other ones. They all have like really interesting and unique dances, but this one is the one, and it doesn't even seem that difficult, or it's not like they're drawing shapes in the sky or doing these really complex patterns. They're just shuffling toward her and then flying to the back, shuffling toward her and flying in the back. It's like the opposite of if you had a bunch of logs and you were trying to roll like a big block or something like that, and putting the logs in front, and then when it came in the back, you'd put another one in front, so it always had something to roll on. It's just the opposite of that.
So it's basically Neil Strauss's rules of the game for birds.
I have no idea what that is.
It's like that. Have you ever heard of negging?
That sounds familiar, but I don't know. It sounds bad.
Yeah, it is bad, but it's not.
We're talking about lecking here, so is it like lecking?
Yeah, it's like yeah. This is. I guess you could say that Neil Strauss's The Rules of the Game is kind of like lecking. It's basically like how to pick up women, becoming a pickup artist.
It's the Prince of Persuasion. It's
yes.
Barney, whatever his last name is in How I Met Your Mother.
Yes, yeah. He's like kind of like that.
His playbook.
But Neil Strauss was like a guy who wrote a playbook, and like it had like, you know, just like kind of egregious things like negging, which is intentionally like putting down a woman,
blocking her exit or something like that. Like
no. Well, I don't know, but like
insult her appearance or something.
No,
like
yes, insult her appearance, like put her down so that like, you know, you seem more alpha to her.
That's the Prince of Persuasion from Bob's Burgers. It's like, but it also includes like physically stop her from being able to leave the room. Like,
does he wear a fedora? Does he peacock in that episode? Like wear like bright colors, or like,
yeah, he's wearing like purple or something like that.
That's a joke of The Rules of the Game. That guy, that character, is a spoof of that book.
Yeah, that's kind of that's insane. But you know, hey, these blue mannequins, they've already got it down. They've already got the bright colors. They've already got the dance moves. They've got their playbook that they spend years practicing on.
And at least it's offering something, a fun dance routine to observe. Yeah.
It's like, hey, and it's not like it's not intrusive. I mean, I guess it is like flapping in somebody's face. But you know, ultimately, it's up to her. She could just fly away and be like, I didn't like it. And then I guess that mannequin is
she does a lot.
Absolutely depressed for life. But yeah, it's I now know what negging is, and so do all of you. I'm probably the only one who didn't know that. Anyway, be better than birds and treat women with respect. And that's all I got. That's the Featherloose story. All right, so for you out there in Podcastia, that was the Blue Manakin group. So dress to the nines, get your crew together, and dance the night away for the ladies, like the Blue Manakin here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, I just want to remind you that we now have a Patreon. Patrons can see full video episodes and get shoutouts on the show. But ultimately, it's a way for you to help us cover some costs and get even better. Still, reviews are the best way to help us grow. So if you haven't left one yet, we'd really love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening and engaging.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Yeah. I didn't know that I couldn't remember the Prince of Persuasia. So your reference and my reference were referencing one another. But we were none the wiser.